Alright everybody, Baron here. I am back from a week of traveling. It was a lot of fun. It was a mix of vacation and work. I was at the Battlefield 1 event for They Shall Not Pass DLC. And then I also went to PAX East in Boston, where I just narrowly avoided a blizzard and had a great time seeing old friends, making new friends. Got a lot of really good leads for fun stuff for the future. So while I did miss the dev server, I gotta say, I don't like missing the dev server because I love to see the new stuff, but I could definitely say it was worth it this time around. But that being said, with regards to this patch, there's two vehicles that I'm very interested in specifically, and that is the Japanese Type 60 ATM and the German Sturmpanzer 2, which nobody saw coming. And that thing is a beast. So real quick, with regards to the Sturmpanzer, which we'll cover secondly. And by the way, the footage here is provided by your friend and mine, Slickbee, or Slickberry, or Potato Me Berry. But, gosh, thanks for the footage, Slick. I do appreciate it. He was here working them videos while I was gone. And the stuff, I mean, the guy pumped out like 3 or 4 videos a day on the dev server stuff. Lots of stuff that a lot of people missed. Everybody covers the dev server, but I gotta say that this time around he killed it. So good job there, Slickberry. But what we're looking at is the Type 60. The Type 60 ATM was a Japanese Type 60 APC personnel carrier equipped with guided anti-tank Type 64 MAT missiles, which stand for anti-tank missiles. I'm assuming it's like Japanese. The Type APC itself was developed by the Mitsubishi Company in 1959 and officially put into service in 1960, becoming the first armored personnel carrier developed by the Japanese after the war. The Type 64 MAT first-generation missiles, also known as CAM-3s, were developed by the Kawasaki Company and put into service in 1964. So, another vehicle that is mid-1960s. Just real quick, you gotta wonder when it is we're gonna see that, like 1968, 1969, 1970. We've seen some late 60s, but that 1970, you know, those vehicles start to come in higher numbers, because I'm curious when War Thunder is just gonna say, hey, we're doing it. We're going into the Vietnam era of vehicles. I mean, technically these these APCs were used in Vietnam, but not by the Mitsubishi Company, right? But once that happens, I'm gonna say helicopters. But anyway, the Type 64 MAT was an ordinary guided wired heat missile, very reminiscent in its design of the German anti-tank Cobra and the Soviet 9M14 Malyutkas, put into service several years before. AKA, Japan, why are you so late to the party? The firing crew consisted of 3 people, and the vehicle aimed by sending a signal from the control unit along a wire connected to the rear of the missile, so wire-guided missiles. The wired aiming system limited the maximum cruising speed and flight range of the missile, but was extremely reliable and cheap to produce. Now, this is the slowest munition in War Thunder, or so Gaijin has said. So there's kind of like the pros and cons of it, right? And I think the pros outweigh the cons. The pros being, well, let's start with the cons. We'll start with the worst first and save the best for last. Slower missile means the enemy has more time to react. Still, that's a missile. That thing's moving fast. Have you ever had a friend fire a bottle rocket at you and you try to move? I mean, I don't recommend it, but I've done it, and it's hard to move out of the way. Those things are fast, and that's a bottle rocket, not a wire-guided Japanese missile. So, right now, the pros are that you have better control over the missile, right? So you might be able to hit more targets. You might be able to better control the missile and therefore be more accurate in it. Hit instead of just looking to make contact with the enemy, instead have a pinpoint shot, because these things are shaped charges, right? So you've got to be very careful. There's some armor that are designed to kind of negate the impact of missiles and of heat shells, right? So, pinpoint or greater accuracy is definitely a huge pro. So Containers of these missiles were used as portable weapons and were also installed on Jeeps and APCs. Well, this is an APC. Interesting. Now, how funny would it be to see a Jeep with an APC running around at like high tiers? Because the mobility and speed you'd have would be great, but then someone could just strafe you with a machine gun. In total, roughly 430 standard models of the Type 60 APC were produced and around 220 Type 64 MAT missile systems. But the precise number of APCs equipped with the missiles is unknown. Well, yeah, maybe hopefully around like 200-ish. In the game, the Type 60 ATM will be a top-range Japanese anti-tank guided missile carrier and will take a position at rank 5 of the ground vehicle tech tree. It's not premium. With its low profile, good mobility, bulletproof armor, and anti-tank missiles in addition to its high-caliber Browning machine gun, 50 caliber of freedom, the Type 60 ATM will be a very similar to the vehicle to the British FV-438 that's in the game right now. Missile's flight speed feels strangely low for many people. It is just 85 meters per second or 306 kilometers per hour, a record low speed among all the ammunition in the game. The slow speed of the missile's flight gives the target a chance to exit the hit zone. However, correcting the missile's flight also becomes far easier. Yep, so basically Gaijin just said the pros and cons that we just analyzed, which can be quite important in realistic battles, where first generation ATGMs are aimed manually. Is that a hint? Where first generation ATGMs are aimed manually. Where first generation ATGMs. See, this makes me wonder, when is Gaijin going to hop into the Vietnam era and instead get to second generation ATGMs? It makes you wonder because we're not too far from the F4 Phantom with wire-guided missiles, and by the way, no other weapon systems to speak of. I'm genuinely curious. Like, that would be interesting. It's totally a different style of gameplay if we ever got to that. Plus, there's helicopters, which I think the rock, paper, scissors dynamic of SPAA, helicopters, and tanks would be just beautiful. And while it would take a little bit of effort to balance, once it was balanced, it would be incredibly rewarding, I personally feel. The ammunition complement of the Type 60 ATM amounts to only 6 missiles, including those that are already loaded into the containers. So you're best off aiming as carefully as you can. Thankfully, the high caliber Browning machine gun allows you to feel out any target before firing your main volley. Are you kidding me? You've got 6 shots? That is nuts. This Japanese modern tank hunter is already warming up its engine and checking its aiming system for its death-dealing homing missiles. All fans of Japan's armored vehicles will soon have a new and powerful weapon at their disposal. Pretty exciting vehicle. It's interesting in regards to it's got that banner, right, that it can wear, that badge of honor or dishonor. Shameful display is that it's got the slowest moving munition in War Thunder currently over everything, which is pretty interesting. So real quick, we're gonna just cover briefly, where I was. I was at the Battlefield 1 event and I got to cover a lot of the DLC. I'm really loving that game. They're working on a lot of stuff. They have 3 more DLC plans after this French one. They shall not pass. There's one with Russians. There's one with amphibious warfare and naval warfare specifically, including a much more detailed look at the Dardanelles campaign or the Gallipoli campaign, which is basically World War I D-Day. And then there's one called Apocalypse, which I would imagine might be the Battle of the Somme, but we're not sure. Basically where like trench warfare gets real, like it's true trench warfare, I think. So that should be pretty interesting. They've got some exciting stuff. I got to see some of the vehicles, some of the weapon systems, and when I can talk about that, I will. But I will be doing some preview stuff. Anyway, I'm going to be streaming a lot more as well, both War Thunder, Battlefield 1, and some other World War II and, warfare-related games. I'm very excited for it. I'm working on my system currently. Big stuff's in the works, and that was all started this past week. So anyway, that out of the way, I got to go to PAX, missed the dev server, got to see a lot of old friends, met new ones. Some exciting leads were made there too, so like really epic stuff. I did miss a dev server, but I gotta say at the end of the day, it was worth it both for like mental health and well-being, as well as just getting a break, hanging out with friends. And then business-wise, oh man, you guys are gonna see some cool stuff. So now let's look at the second vehicle that I really wanted to cover. And thank you, Slick, once again for the footage. I almost said footage. This is the Sturmpanzer 2, the Tiny Annihilator. It's got a 15cm SIG 33 Auf Fahrgestell Panzerkampfwagen 2 SF, aka the Sturmpanzer 2, was a German self-propelled gun based on the modified chassis of the Panzer II light tank, built as a replacement and improvement of the Sturmpanzer 1 Bison that was too heavy and presented a large vertical profile. Let's just halt everything right now. Where the hell's the Sturmpanzer 1? That is such a funny looking vehicle, it has to be in War Thunder. I'm actually surprised that this one made it, which is a vehicle honestly I was never familiar with. But I was familiar with the Sturmpanzer 1 Bison, right? The SPG was in production from 1941 with a total of 12 vehicles completed. Sturmpanzer 2 weight was 16 tons, and with its Busing Nag Type GS water-cooled 8-cylinder 7.9-liter gasoline engine. Oh my god, look at all those words. It was able to reach up to 45 kilometers per hour on the road, or 15 kilometers per hour cross country. Its maximum armor plating was up to 30 millimeters thick, and the vehicle was armed with the 15cm SIG 33 howitzer that was generally used as heavy infantry gun until the very end of the war. All the vehicles saw duty in the 707th and 708th something German, and while some were destroyed, the rest remained in the DAK, the Deutsches Afrika Korps, and fought until the Axis surrender of Tunisia in May 1943. So these only saw action in Africa? In War Thunder, the tank will be strong reinforcement for the low tier of the German ground forces tech tree, with it being able to quickly relocate and strike with surprise even against the most armored foes. It will surely not be an overlooked vehicle. The low profile and large 150mm howitzer makes you a very dangerous enemy. Besides, the Sturmpanzer 2 uses same shells as the Brummbär, the Midas HE charges in War Thunder so far. So be wary of your insignificant armor and missing roof. This is an open top vehicle that can easily be destroyed by even the smallest caliber machine guns in the game. But here's the thing. A lot of people are comparing this, and rightfully so, to the Horo of the Japanese. Now the Horo, low BR, huge howitzer gun. I've seen those things kill mouse tanks. And when you look at the BR discrepancy between the two vehicles, like people take out the Horo as a badge of honor, as like a challenge tank. Like, what's the biggest and baddest tank I can take this out? What BR can I take this out and get kills? People killing mouse tanks with this thing, man. It's wildly impressive. Like, so the Sturmpanzer 2 here makes you think you're gonna be able to do it as well. Very exciting stuff. Pretty nuts. And my question for you all is, what is your most hyped vehicle in patch 1.67? Let me know in the comments below. What you guys think of the dev server footage? That, I mean, obviously I didn't cover it, but you know, like the other guys did. Like, there was a lot of stuff out there, and I feel like there was a lot more videos covered in just a few days, right? But dude, I don't know if they're gonna put the dev server up again. Lately, they've only put the dev server up 1, maybe 2 times, and then the patch drops relatively shortly after. So chances are, it seems that it's possible that the patch could drop this week or next week. And if it dropped after next week, I'm a monkey's uncle, you know, and I would be very surprised at that. So the Sturmpanzer 2 in the Type 60 ATM. Death on a wire, guys. This is some cool vehicles. I just kind of wanted to give you an update, say why I missed the dev server, why I missed that footage, and then all the exciting stuff that is about to happen. So, Baron's Brigade, where you at?